introduction to one of my favorite people on earth, Mr. Stephen Oliver, who is with the Advisor Marketing Podcast. Now, Stephen is a true maverick, and I mean that in every sense of the word. Not only in our business, but I have to tell you, his clients universally love him, and they grow at rates that they wouldn't believe it's possible. Now, on this podcast, in each episode, Stephen is joined by various members of his team or special guests to share insider secrets to rapid growth and high net profits in your financial advisory practice. So I just want you to know you're in for a wild ride, new information, and a lot of exciting new future because of Stephen Oliver.
I always forget whether it's Tony Robbins or Brian or Tom Hopkins. But he said, anytime somebody asks how your day, always say unbelievable. It can be horrible and it's unbelievable. It can be great. It's unbelievable. Hey, I was reading through all of this CFP board stuff. That if obviously you're public on it, so you don't mind at all. I was chuckling at right after our meeting, you did the public post about our meeting with the advisors who didn't believe you, and I was laughing about that one. In agreement, by the way, and then the CFP thing. If it's good with you, I'd love to spend a little bit of time talking about how different organizations and associations try to curtail advertising, marketing, and
I have no problem with that. It's your show, but yeah. I looked at your thing and you said, well, you're talking to financial advisors. What can I do for them? This is a little interest to them. But if you think it is, I'm ready to go for it. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Well, what I think happens is they all get constrained by compliance.
They get confused. Retired is not CFP anymore. Yeah.
I will give you that now. Where is my there? Record to the cloud.
This meeting is being recorded.
We are both live and recording, Dr. Fred. I'm going to let you introduce yourself because you have been an advisor or were an advisor for many years, Dr. Fred Rouse, and you go by the title of the Real Money Doctor nowadays. But give us a little bit of your background. How many years were you a practicing financial advisor? How many years ago did you get your CFP and all that kind of stuff? That's going to be a topic of our conversation. And how did you arrive at the point you're at now?
Well, I appreciate you having me on your show. I've been in financial services for, God, four decades right now. It's scary. Before I retired, the last 28 as a certified financial planner. And I got started part-time, and it was with a company called Waddell & Reed. I was a respiratory therapist at the time, and I was looking for some extra income. This looks interesting. So I answered the ad, went and took all their tests and everything. They give you the book, go memorize the book and take the test. And 3 months later, you come back, you take the test and fine. And all of a sudden, you're a financial advisor. Well, they sold 15 mutual funds and life insurance. And I found it very quickly that my customers knew more about money than I did, which was not a surprise. I mean, I'm a little guinea kid from South Philadelphia, nothing fancy. That was the carpet layer, four kids in a 2-bedroom house. So I didn't come from money. I didn't know I was poor until years afterwards. But it was interesting. I went and got the CFP designation. It took me 5 years to get that. And then I stopped selling products probably within 5 years of getting a CFP designation. It was just, quite honestly, hoary. I didn't enjoy it at all. I don't like twisting arms. And that was the whole thing. Go out and canvas the world, and you don't get paid until somebody gives you money. Well, that was tacky. I mean, no matter how good my advice was, I had to question it myself, because was I doing it because it was right for them, and I thought it was, and to this day I still do, or because I need a commission? Well, as soon as I stopped selling products, I shifted over to the tax side of things. Life was simple, okay, and I've been doing tax stuff for years.
Yeah,
and that's where we are right now. It's been much more fun, and again, it's retired, and I work with small people, 0 to 6 employees, and I've got all the third-party credentials that were really nice. I wrote books for Brian Tracy and Jack Canfield and Dick Vitale. I'm writing one right now with Lisa Nichols, and it's been fun. Been on ABC, NBC, CNBC, all over the place. It's been fun, but my focus has always been on the little guy. And it's what I've been doing for 40 years or so until I retired. And now I'm retired and I have a good time. The picture behind me is a picture of my place in Delaware. I got a place in Philadelphia, outside in the suburbs, and a place in Delaware, right on the water. And I enjoy my Delaware place because it's quiet.
Yeah.
And I show students basically how to take a small account and become financially independent within 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that as a financial planner. They just wouldn't let me.
Yeah. Yeah. You raise a couple of interesting points. And of course, all of our podcasts are for financial planners, about financial planners, obviously many times with people who are outside of the industry. And, I personally come from outside the industry as we've discussed, in the meetings that we've been involved with and so forth. I actually, I went to Georgetown University, got a degree in economics, thinking I was going to go on to Wall Street, and ended up getting an MBA, but then opened a chain of martial arts schools. And the success I had, I had 3,500 new students or clients within the first couple of years of that. The marketing success I had started leading people back to me in Denver and then around the country who were law firms and financial advisors and everything else trying to figure out what I was doing. And as an outsider, I'm always shocked with the blinders that the industry has, both on a marketing perspective and on broadening their horizons on really what it is they're doing. And I think about it this way, and I'm an academic nerd. I want to go down this path with you, but I have read all of the SEC rulings and all of the stuff on what you can do and what you can't do, and I'm happy to get the big legal books out and go through them. I'll freely profess I'm not an attorney, I'm not a compliance expert, any of that stuff. But advisors are just cowered into submission in so many different ways by the fear of compliance that's overwrought. Let's talk about that briefly. You have seen that, and I by the way, I appreciated the great testimony you did on my book. It was beautiful, but that was kind of the starting point. As I tell people, read the book, and you'll either be attracted or scared off right away, because I'm kind of in your face about all that stuff. What have you seen in that industry that is self-limiting?
The compliance was always an interesting situation from when I got started. You weren't allowed to do anything or say anything until somebody approved this piece in the compliance office. And I'm looking, what the hell do they know about anything? And then what generally happens is the SEC has their rules, which is fine. Then the compliance people read those rules and they tighten them up because they misinterpret what's going on. And then they pass them down. And then the advisor is even more scared than what the compliance officer was talking about. And all of a sudden, you can't do anything. And as an advisor, it was really, really simple. Selling life insurance, you can't quote the policy, you can't quote a rate. Other than that, you're free to discuss about pretty much anything. But, oh no, I can't do that. Compliance won't let me. Well, did you try?
Yeah.
Did you try a different company? And again, I eventually just said bye.
Yeah.
I couldn't play their game anymore because it was self-perpetuating. They were in it for their interest and not yours.
You bet.
And to help clients along the way, and you can't because you can't express anything to them.
You bet. You bet. The the big companies, my standing line when I was working with a very successful small group within I think it was Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley, I forget, but they sent me the emails they were going to send out. And I was like, for God's sake, this sounds like it was written by 3 attorneys and 2 English teachers. There's no personality in this whatsoever. And the stuff that I see from coming out of the big companies, whether it's the emails that they send out. I went through. I work internally. Have worked a lot internally with Northwestern Mutual, and I swear to God, I had to go into their system and piece together 10 different newsletters to just get something where something would go out twice a week to the clients that were pre-written from a compliance standpoint. And some of them were good, but most of them are more written by a lawyer than they are by a human. And people only read emails written from a human to a human, not from big corporate face. That's a huge problem of all this stuff is people make a corporate gibberish, almost political speech where they're not saying any damn thing.
Yeah, people have been doing that for years. And anytime you have an organization, they're there to protect themselves, not the public and not you.
Yeah.
So the only people they serve are themselves.
Yeah.
And if you're on the front end of things, and again, I never worked with trust fund babies. They didn't come see me. It was okay. I deal with small people, 0 to 6 employees, the contractors, the plumbers, the electricians, the carpenters, people that have small operations, chiropractor, one-man dentist operations. And they don't know about that stuff. They don't want to know about that stuff. What are you going to do to help me today? How are you going to help my business? And how are you going to help me retire? And the people in corporate have no interest in that. They're on a salary. They could care less.
Yeah.
You're paying their salary, but they don't want to acknowledge that. So it was a problem, and I had to walk away from it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about your most recent controversy. You got into a spat with the CFP board. Before that, let's step back to our mutual experience. You and I both sit in a little mastermind group together, and I think at my count there are 3 people plus myself who directly work with financial advisors, and there's I believe it's 3 or 4 people who are financial advisors. And we were in that meeting talking about what you're doing as far as investment strategy and so forth, who you're trying to deal with. And, to give the setting, you were looking for the feedback from the people who are in the industry, frankly, looking for something I've always looked for with other consultants and gurus. I never can get them to see it. Basically, you were saying, why don't you give me all of your unqualified leads because they're my market, and I can show them how to do what I'm doing since you can't show them how to do what I'm doing, and none of them would cooperate in any way, shape, or form. Is that a fair summary?
That's pretty much what happened.
Yep.
It was interesting, without a doubt in the world. I mean, these are people that they weren't going to deal with anyway.
Yeah.
They don't want these people. I mean, I was in financial services for 40 years. I know what they're looking for. And one guy says, well, my clients retire and stay retired. Well, the only way to retire and stay retired is if you're generating enough cash flow.
You bet.
Which means you need a lump sum of money.
Yeah.
Okay. To start to work with this guy. And even then, you're going to have to start to cut back your lifestyle at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody talks about that part.
Right.
So they run across people in their normal advertising that they can't do anything for. And I say, hey, send them my way. I'll show them how to take $5,000 and in 3 years generate $250,000 worth of cash flow a year. At which point in time, they're going to have excess money. And all of a sudden, they need a money manager of some sort.
Yeah.
I don't do money management, if that's okay. I'm not interested in that. But I've got credential wealth managers. People that are credential wealth managers actually in my program because they can't do what I do for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just part of the fun. And the big thing was, well, I don't believe you. My results are posted every week.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will be bad and give a number here. I don't normally give numbers.
Go right ahead.
But we're on a closed podcast, basically. We're closed.
We're not trying to pitch anything. Go ahead.
And as a financial advisor, and again, 40 years worth in the field, 28 as a certified financial planner before I retired, you're told and you believe and you've seen that on an average 15, 20, 30 year, 50-year period, you can expect 8, 10, 12% returns.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it. 18%, that's unheard of. You might be able to get 1 year and then you're not going to get it another year. Well, that's what the industry has been doing for years.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't changed. It's not about to change. I show somebody how to take a $5,000 account and in 1 year get $30,000 to $50,000 in first year trading profits from that account.
Yeah.
$5,000 in, $30,000 to $50,000 out. That's not 100% return. That's not 200%. That's 800, 900, 1,000% return.
You bet.
No advisor can do that. And I'm not trying to take away anything from you guys, but if you're in this for the long term, okay, you've got one source of income, clients with money. If they don't have money, you don't want to deal with them because what you do takes time, and all you have is time.
Yeah.
So where are you going to put your time in? Somebody who's going to generate some dollars for you. Well, if somebody's only got $150,000, $200,000, they're not going to generate any money for you. Send them someplace else that can get that money to grow, and then expect them to come back. That works out well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're having problems with the CFP board without a doubt in the world.
Yeah, let's talk about that next. I was watching just yesterday, the day before, I was watching an interesting conversation with Jeremy Boring, who's the co-founder of the Daily Wire, and I may be misattributing this, but he was basically saying the problem is as you grow, and of course they turned into a 9 or 10 figure company. I think they're easily worth 150 million or something like this at this point, starting from scratch. But he was saying the biggest threshold, the biggest problem is as you grow, is you become more and more risk adverse, and that the thing that's been keeping them successful is to realize that they're back to zero tomorrow. That's okay. They can keep going, but to not become risk adverse and keep doing new risky things. And I thought it was a really interesting conversation, and obviously it relates back to the wealth management side, because really what most wealth managers are there to do is to not lose a penny of their clients' capital, right? They're highly risk adverse, and you do the evaluations with what's your level of risk tolerance versus return and all of that stuff. But mostly what they know is if somebody gives me $750,000, I better damn at the end of the year have their $750,000 there, or else they're going to fire me. I mean, is that a fair way to describe their mentality?
After 40 years in the field, that's pretty much all I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you get them getting on top of that's great. But at least I didn't lose anything.
Yeah. and then the classic is, and I rail against this constantly, is every advisor I talk to, I'll say, well, who do you want to deal with? They'll say, well, 50 to 60 years old with $500,000 or more in investable assets. It's like, could you narrow it down a little bit more? Could you get some more level of focus than that? That's not a very helpful targeting tool when it comes to marketing. But let's go to the CFP board, and I have, as I mentioned before, worked across a number of industries. I was working with Jay Abraham and Dan Kennedy and all the early pioneers of internet marketing, going all the way back into the 90s, or even going back into the 80s, I guess, with some of this stuff. But in every field, anytime there's licensing or anytime there's a group of people, they try to put handcuffs on, shackles. They try to direct what can and can't be done. In my old industry, in the martial arts industry, I tell our clients, any one of the organizations are almost always run by people who don't know how to be successful at your business, and therefore they're requiring you to do things that are not, in your best interest. And with attorneys, I know the Bar Association, what they want people to do, advertising and so forth, often bears no resemblance to what will work, right? To the point that attorneys for years, were just afraid to advertise. Now that, a few of the guys broke that barrier, and now they seem to have all broken that barrier. But I don't think the barrier has been broken really in the financial services industry. It's amazing to me that it seems to me like Fisher Investments is the only one I see doing any direct response marketing anywhere out in the market. And it seems like all the rest of the industry hate them because they see them everywhere, and the rest of the industry assumes what they're doing doesn't work. But let's go to the CFP board. Why did they pick a fight with you years after you were retired?
I thought that was interesting. Without a doubt,
even in all your marketing, you say retired or emeritus or whatever. How do you stick your head up high enough to pick a fight with somebody who's already telling people he's out of the field?
It wasn't that difficult.
Yeah.
When you get the kind of returns that I get,
right?
Okay. People watch.
Mm-hmm.
People watch a lot. How many people do you know that are getting 800-900% returns and have been doing it every year since 2008?
Yeah.
Not one losing year. Triple-digit returns every year. I mean, to begin with, that's an unheard of thing in financial services.
You bet.
But again, this is an active situation. This isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
And what I do is take somebody with a small account, 5, 10, 15, 20, $100,000, $200,000, generally under $500,000. They're my ideal people. And they know they can't retire on that. It doesn't work. 8, 10, 12% on that isn't going to get you anywhere. I show them how to take a $5,000 account, trading just 2 commodities. Say the commodity word, boom. Financial planners go crazy because all they know is you're going to lose all your money. It's really risky. They don't know anything about commodities, but because of their training, and again, I got 40 years of this stuff, you're going to lose all your money, and it's very risky. Well, it depends on what you do. If you're only risking $5,000 of a $100,000 account, you're not risking very much.
Yeah.
That's in your trading account. Once the money's in your trading account, doesn't mean you're in the market just yet. We show them how to get in the market 2, maybe 3 times a month on average, trading only 2 commodities. When you are there, you're only risking between 2 to 5% of your account on any trade, and then you're only there for a maximum of 4 days. 4 days. If the world goes crazy, how badly could you possibly get hurt?
Yeah.
$5,000 to begin with, risking only 2 to 5% of that, and you're only there for 4 days. Versus people that have $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 in the market, it hasn't recovered from January of last year.
You bet.
Following the financial planning advice.
Yeah.
That 30-year lie just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And they all spout the 30-year lie. They don't know about it. They do. Okay. If you take $1,000.
It's Lee Milt here, and I'm delighted to interrupt you today and let you know that I've been working with Stephen Oliver for 10 or 15 years now. He's a great guy. I love all the research that he does. And I just wanted to let you know that if you're enjoying the content on this podcast, then you really want to make time to visit advisorwealthmastery.com. And why should you do that? Well, because you're going to receive 2 of his great books and actually one of mine called Success is an Inside Job. You'll also get a lot of absolutely free material on growing your practice through effective marketing.
And
so again, take the time to go to advisorwealthmastery.com.
That's great on paper. In reality, it simply doesn't work because life happens along the way. Now, here you got the CFP board, and you can't be in business for any length of time without somebody doing something that's not happy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got students that didn't finish a program. Hey, I have no control over that. They put people through universities. You give the university $100,000. Doesn't mean you're going to come out with anything more than a degree.
You bet.
You don't get a job. You have a degree and an opportunity to make money. And if you don't, you blame the university? Or do you blame yourself?
Yeah.
Well, it's easier to blame the university. So it's easier to blame me. So the CFP board gets a complaint. Oh, this student said this. I got a string of students are making money. One student's making $30,000 a month right now. Started with $5,000.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear that. They also don't want to hear that I wasn't doing anything that came close to providing financial services or financial advice according to their code.
Yeah.
And again, I hadn't done that for 15, 20 years at least anyway.
Yeah.
And I told them, look, I want to retire. I don't need the credential anymore. What do I do? I'll just let it expire. Okay. And then 6, 8 months later, I got a complaint from the board and they want me to answer this thing. I didn't do any of this stuff to begin with. So I'm not going to waste my time trying to explain to people that don't want to hear anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing general marketing, real marketing to real people. And they don't want to hear about that.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, their attorney actually did a video saying that what I did is just general marketing and doesn't come under financial planning or financial services.
Yeah.
They didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Their attorney on video, as one of their training videos. It was unbelievable. And so we're back and forth now. And they permanently barred me from applying for a designation that I already retired.
Yeah.
Am I missing something here, folks? And now I'm playing with their trademark attorneys because they don't like retired CFP. They don't like CFP emeritus because the CFP board has a CFP board emeritus. So, okay, I'm easy. I'll just put retired CFP.
Yeah.
I am. And what am I supposed to do with 30 years worth of stuff out there? I've got books and publications that say I'm a CFP. Well, at the time I was.
Yeah.
They're going crazy. No big deal. It's just part of the fun.
They want you to go purge all of that from the historic stuff? Is that what they're trying to do?
They say that they don't, but pretty much they'd like that to happen.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is just an organization protecting their own.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been fighting for years against the greedy money insiders, and you know who they are. The big organizations, the politicians, okay, the insurance companies, Wall Street brokers, okay. They're in there to make money. They don't care about you. They don't care about my clients. My clients are small guys.
Yeah.
So I'm there for my clients. My students recognize that. Students have been through the program, recognize that, hey, if it wasn't for Dr. I wouldn't be making this money right now.
Yeah.
But nobody else wants to hear it. It's okay. I'm hitting them head on. You say one thing, here, I think it's libelous.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's always interesting. I read a number of books about the Trump University debacle, and you know, like in New York State, I used to use the term Black Belt University for some of my stuff, and if you got down to it, the one thing that they were pissed off about is he used the word university when he wasn't an accredited academic institution. And I think it was New York was picking on that. But the reality is, in any time you're teaching people stuff to do, whether you're an accredited university, not an accredited university, a private training organization, whatever it might be, most of the people that you're training aren't going to do what you tell them how to do, right? You know, and some people, I think with my clients, I have a 95% track record. I'm sure you have a very high track record with your guys. But there's always people who want to pay you to argue with you, and more often there's people who just collect knowledge and then don't do anything with it. And to use the few people who don't succeed, you know, having worked with Dan Kennedy for years, his standard joke is, you know, with weight loss, any weight loss thing is, you know, that the appropriate disclaimer would be, you know, 99% of people who get this information, get this product, never use it. You know, this exercise machine is only good for hanging your clothing because that's the results that 90% of the people who buy it get. You know, the right answer would be, you know, if you use it. I worked in the franchising industry, and their line, which I think is completely right, is the system works if you work the system. And the big if is if you work the system. I thought it was funny too, and I recognized it, is they said that you did videos that looked like they were newscasts when they weren't newscasts. And one of my most successful advertising campaign ever was we used to buy 2-minute slots in the 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 9 o'clock news on ABC, CBS, NBC on the local news channels. And we did 2 minutes because that would take the entire time slot. And then we would set it up on like a news looking set and in an interview format on that 2 minutes time slot. And that was extremely effective. What specifically are they complaining about there? What didn't they like about your advertising post actually being an advisor?
Who knows? I mean, I have no clue. It looked like a news broadcast. Well,
Yeah.
It's designed to look like a news broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And according to your attorneys, the CFP attorneys who actually did the video on marketing said, oh yeah, that stuff is good because you're not providing any specific financial advice or financial services.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing those things, none of what the CFP board has to say has anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
And I haven't done any of those things for 15, 20 years before I retired at Credential.
Yeah.
I quit selling financial services way back when.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't doing anything for my clients.
Yeah.
So if you keep the client in mind, the rest of the stuff will fall off eventually. I really don't care about it.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Do I have to institute a lawsuit against the CFP board? Possibly. I don't know. That's not outside the realm of possibility because what they've done has had financial harm to me. So yeah, I can do that. Am I going to bother? Probably not.
Yeah.
When they can't control you, they try to control how people see you. That's just the way it is. And I understand that. And I've got a number of people out there who see what I do. I've done for them. They've done for themselves following a process, and they're happy. Am I going to waste my energy on these crazy folks that are trying to contain me, or am I going to work with people who I can actually help?
You
I would
bet.
rather work with people I'm trying to actually help.
Yeah.
Again, I'm 70 years old right now. How much time do I have here? My goal is to help people to get, protect, and enjoy their money, their life, and their retirement. If I get diverted playing with crazies, I can't do that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
At 70 years old, I only have so much time. I enjoy my time with the water behind me. It's a lovely place. It's nice and quiet. And I thoroughly enjoy working with students to show them actually I get these results.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing for me to do.
The let's talk about that. So right now, what you're doing, just explain. You're bringing people in who want to learn the system that you've worked out over years. How does that work? What do they do? What's the process? What are you teaching them?
It took me 10 years and over $350,000 of my money to develop the system.
Yeah.
When I was a CFP, okay, just about got the credential at that point in time because it took me 5 years to do it. I took a $5,000 trading account. I ran it up to $2 million in just 2 years. I said, shit, I'm really good at this stuff now. $5,000 to $2 million in 2 years. I should be able to double it now.
Mm-hmm.
What a surprise. I lost it in 6 months.
Yeah.
I lost $2 million in 6 months. I said, God, that wasn't fun at all.
No.
And you don't wake up the next day and say, oh, the sun's up. It's a great day. No, it wasn't. And me and depression were real good friends for quite a while. And I ended up going back to work as a respiratory therapist, working nights and weekends at a long-term ventilator care facility just to pay the bills as I worked on my tax business during the week. Mm-hmm. And, if you've got your own business, every dollar goes back into your business. So there wasn't any extra money floating around. Yeah. But I kept the charts because I was trained as a CFP. I knew about risk. I knew that, 8, 10, 12% was what you get. And here I'm getting $5,000 to $2 million in 2 years. Not 8, 10, 12%.
No.
So I kept the charts. And I said, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And more importantly, what did I do wrong to lose all that money? And I figured out I spent a lot of money and I worked out a system to get the emotions and the judgment out of it completely. Mm-hmm. We focus on 2 commodities. I don't care what 2, just only 2, because then you can become an expert in those 2. I can't make somebody a trader, but I can make them an expert in 2. So that's what we do. We show them a process that's been working since 2008 to today. The same process, nothing has changed. The same trading checklist, nothing has changed. And it gets the same results year in, year out. And I post the results. And right now I've got 2 years to post the results up there. Somebody said, well, you should post your results. I said, okay, I'll do that. So I started doing that last year. So we've got all 22 posted and most of 23. I'm about a week behind right now. But I'm to 1,000% right now. And mm-hmm. I do some videos and things, and I cut it off for the first 3 months when we're talking about 300% return. And I guess that's bad enough for people to believe. Mm-hmm. You tell them you get 1,000% return and you do it all the time, they don't believe you at all. And you were in the room.
Oh yeah,
They were ugly.
Yeah,
they were ugly.
You know what I found humorous, and I was pretty much a passive observer. I didn't get into the fray on that one. But there wasn't even any curiosity. That's what I found interesting, is there was just a complete shield that went up, and I think the 3 people who were directly, actively, currently financial advisors, a shield went up, and they didn't want to know anymore. They weren't interested. They weren't curious. It was just, I don't believe you, and period. I'm done with having the conversation. Was the way I perceived it.
That's pretty much the end of the conversation. And that's pretty much what I get from almost every financial advisor.
Yeah.
And of course, the CFP board.
Yeah.
And anyone who has an institution, because they're protecting institutional interest.
Mm-hmm.
If all they could ever get you is 8, 10, 12%, do they really want anybody to know that there's a chance that you don't need them at all?
Mm-hmm.
Of course not. They don't want that information out there. And so it's important for them to try and quash that information. If they can't quash it, then they have to quash the messenger.
Yeah.
I'm the messenger. What can I say?
To me, it's interesting because you can certainly have a role of preserving capital, and preserving capital in a very conservative way. and at the same time, giving your clients additional information where they can go in different directions as well. And keep a certain amount of money off the table. I mean, the whole point of working with entrepreneurs is, here's the money you have in play and here's the money you have off the table, right? If you're building your own business, as soon as you get cautious on building your own business, you're in trouble. And at the same time, it's okay to take some money off the table, for the worst case scenario. I just have a hard time seeing the conflict of the two roles as being useful any more than I have. Most of the business owners I work with, I tell them constantly, look, your business isn't going to make you rich. It's going to spit off some cash flow, and you can become rich over here, but the business is just going to, support your lifestyle. And if you sell it someday, great. If not, that's probably more likely.
And that's pretty much it. And again, there's a place for financial advisors. I don't have a problem with that. I like financial advisors. I was one for 4 decades.
Yeah.
However, okay, you have a certain client that you work with, certain people that you work with that you can actually help. And if you're interested in helping more than just generating dollars, then you need to do something for the people that you can't help.
Yeah.
Send them out to someone who can do something for them, like me, who can show them how to make money, and they can send them back to you with more money, so you can end up making more money.
You bet.
That makes a whole lot more sense instead of just saying, oh, no, you can't do that. It's too risky. Well, my folks have less time in the market than your folks do.
Mm-hmm.
I will stack my 1-year returns against your 3- and 5-year returns, dollar for dollar. I win every time. Now, I don't want to go into direct competition with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But my numbers stand up.
Yeah.
No one has challenged my numbers so far. Then let the ad. Okay.
Well, that's an interesting statement. So the argument never comes back to what you're doing doesn't work.
No.
Or that your results aren't the results.
Nope.
It's how you're getting the attention of your target audience to come try it out.
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Never
once question the actual results. Not once. They don't want to know about them.
If you think somebody's a fraud, you should be going to the root of what's going on rather than how they're promoting it.
But again, they don't want to know.
Yeah.
If all you can get somebody is 8, 10, 12%, do you really want to know that, hey, there's somebody out there who can get triple-digit returns?
Yeah.
I don't want to know that. Somebody else might find out too. They might be my clients that might find out.
Yeah.
Now, what am I supposed to do?
You said earlier that you have the results posted online. Where are you posting everything? Where is your website? Where are you putting this out?
Okay. The actual results are posted at drrousenow.com/results.
Dr. Rouse.
Now.
Okay.
And DrRousenow, drrousenow.com.
Okay.
/results.
Okay.
And they're posted. I didn't post last week's yet, but I'm up to 1,000% already. And the preceding year is up there. No big deal. And I don't make tons of giant trades.
Mm-hmm.
We're making small trades.
Yeah.
$200, $400, $800, $1,000, $2,000 a trade. But if I show somebody how to get 7, 8, 10 winning trades in a row before they have a losing trade, all of a sudden now that builds up. I'm not showing people how to make money. I'm showing people how not to take on losing trades. The whole system was designed how not to get into bad trades. If you follow a process and the process is how not to get in bad trades, and there's really only 3 or 4 reasons why a trade is bad, if you can recognize what those reasons are, then life is simple.
Yeah.
I see it happening. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you were a little kid at one point in time. Mom told you not to touch the stove.
Yeah.
Did you touch it a second time on purpose?
No. Not the second time.
Not the second time.
Yeah.
Now, you had some accidents along the way, but you never did it on purpose because you knew. And the whole system that I provide for students is I want you to test the system.
Yeah.
I want you to prove it to yourself first that you've got the job skills to do it. One, that the system actually works, that you get 80% winning trades in a back test, and then a forward test moving forward, you get a minimum of 70% winning trades, proving that you've got the skills and you know how to apply the skills.
Right.
Only then do you open up a trading account and start trading with real money?
Yeah.
Not one person's ever challenged any of that.
Yeah. Well, nor if I'm hearing correctly, they're not giving you the money and you're doing the trading it with the money. They're keeping their money in their own account. You're not in a role where you're controlling their money.
It's Lee Milt here, and I'm delighted to interrupt you today and let you know that I've been working with Stephen Oliver for 10 or 15 years now. He's a great guy. I love all the research that he does. And I just wanted to let you know that if you're enjoying the content on this podcast, then you really want to make time to visit advisorwealthmastery.com. And why should you do that? Well, because you're going to receive 2 of his great books and actually one of mine called Success is an Inside Job. You'll also get a lot of absolutely free material on growing your practice through effective marketing. So again, take the time to go to advisorwealthmastery.com.
If there was anything that somebody was suspicious about what you're doing, you don't have access to their money. You're just teaching them a system.
I don't want access to their money.
Yeah.
I don't want people dependent on me. I'm not providing a trade service where I show them what to trade or tell them every morning what to trade. I was involved with those things before. They were terrible.
Yeah.
I want somebody to learn the skills so that after they go through the program, they know how to make money. They don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
They already have the skills. And the nice thing is they can show their kids and their kids can show their kids. All of a sudden now I've generated intergenerational wealth out of my program. Nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now, my lower middle class guys, they can do something for themselves and their families that they're going to be remembered for down the line. Grandpa showed me how to trade. Yeah. And all of a sudden now, you don't need a job anymore. Because most of my folks are relatively happy with $200,000, $300,000 a year. Tax-free, by the way. I show them how to do it tax-free, which advisors can't do either.
Yeah.
Not a little bit, 100% tax-free. Because as a financial advisor, all I could ever do was nibble around the edges.
Yeah.
8, 10, 12%, maybe you get 13 or 15% one year and you lose it again the next year. On the tax side of things, we get some tax savings here and there. We shave a percentage point here and there. And it was lovely. And it's a lot of mental masturbation, all intents and purposes.
I love that term, by the way. I've used that a number of times myself.
It works.
Yeah.
It's all it is. And if you want to do that to amuse yourself, no problem. But don't try and delude yourself into thinking you're actually helping somebody doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, the difference between 15% and 18% on a tax return doesn't mean a whole lot. It really doesn't over a period of time. Now, the difference between 15% and 0%, that means a lot.
Yeah.
And I show them how to do it 100% tax-free. Nobody's questioned that either. What a surprise. But they don't like the ads.
You know, that is across industries. That is such a common phenomenon that is not even a surprise. What I find a little bit surprising, although I shouldn't, is how somebody who has already retired and told them they've retired draws the ire and the effort and the dedication to snipe at them. And I guess I shouldn't be retired at that either as you watch what's going on. You know, my bitch before I heard about your situation was I've seen a number of things come down the pike where I don't remember the specifics, so I won't go into it too specifically, but there was one situation where an employee made a complaint about their employer, who was a certified advisor. And I don't remember if this was CFP board or if it was one of the other organizations. And they immediately on the accusation kicked the person out of their environment. You may remember the story was about a year ago. But there's been a number of things where just the accusation of impropriety, and this one was an accusation of making a racially inappropriate comment, got the person kicked out without any evidence, particularly other than in this case a disgruntled employee's word, which having had now I don't know how many hundreds or into the thousands of employees, I could go find a few myself who would say bad things about me regardless of whether it happened or not, just because they have a bad taste in their mouth over the years. anything to add to that? I don't want to beat that one to death, but if an advisor wanted to learn more about what you do out of curiosity, and by the way, I always recommend curiosity, even if you think it's, complete hogwash, right? But out of curiosity, or if they wanted to do something cooperatively with you, how would they do that? What would be their next steps to learn more about what you do, Dr. Fred?
Well, there's two things. One is just to find out more about the program itself, and go to drrousenow.com, and there's a short 12-minute video there which details what I do and what's involved in the program.
Yeah.
Very clear. It's very straightforward. 12 minutes, bang, done.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have leisurely time, you want to know more about me personally, not a problem. drfredrouse.com.
And we'll post both of these in the show notes and all of that
Okay.
stuff so people can track it down. And kind of back to what you were trying to do with our little group is, and as I said before, I've had this conversation many times with people who are doing similar things that I do. In the coach and consultant realm, I've always said to the other guys who do more or less what I do, I say, look, highly successful people are going to work with everybody in parallel or in series. So why don't we do something where they can work with you and work with me, or when they stop working with you, they can work with me. When they stop working with me, I'll point them at you. And we all have unconverted leads. I do a pretty good job. About 50% of people who are qualified, I convert. But that also means that I have 90% of my leads aren't qualified. That if somebody else was smart in my industry who wanted to deal with the small guys, I'd be happy to hand them over to them. I'd be happy to. I have tried to get other people to work cooperatively, and they always see me as their competitor rather than as somebody who would be useful. And that's just strange to me. I would love to monetize all of my unqualified leads and monetize all my unqualified leads, or at the very least, create a symbiotic relationship where I could share back and forth. That was the conversation you were trying to have with people who immediately put up barriers and couldn't see it. What ultimately would you love to accomplish if somebody was open-minded enough to do that?
I would love to, take your unqualified people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want them anyway. You can't do anything with them. Send them my direction. They'll love you for doing it.
Yeah.
After we show them how to make money, send them back to you.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. And it just makes sense for everybody. It works with tax advisors also. Yeah. And there's a number of tax people that I thought, hey, you get tax resolution people. You solve the problem for them. They ditched the IRS, had enough money to pay you, they ditched the IRS, and now they need to make money. Because if they had a tax problem that they needed a tax resolution specialist, then you know that I'm money retirement funds.
Yeah.
They need help.
Yeah.
Send them my direction. I'll send them back to you for tax work. Somebody has to do the tax returns.
Yeah.
And they're not simple returns, so you end up charging a little bit more for the tax returns.
Yeah.
It works out for everybody.
Yeah.
Financial planners, you send them back, they have more money now. They didn't have money before. So if you're in business long term, this is what you want. When you don't feel like prospecting anymore, now you get clients coming back to you because these are unqualified people you sent out 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Versus the new guy who's getting in the field, who's out there actually knocking doors.
Yeah.
Okay. And taking somebody with $50,000 and trying to sell more mutual funds and life insurance annuities.
Right.
Okay. Because that goes nowhere fast.
You bet. You bet.
I was there before.
And we're going to be out of time here pretty quickly. I want to be respectful of your time also. But what are you doing right now that's working to drive new prospects through your pipeline? I've seen you, I think, on LinkedIn, Facebook, a number of social media platforms. I'm doing an awful lot of advertising on the various social media platforms. But what are you doing now that's working in your placid life on the water in Delaware? I know on a lot of our video meetings, you're standing by the lake watching the ducks or whatever it is out there.
It's a lovely thing to do. It really is very quiet. And I split my time with my wife down there. And again, I wake up in the morning, I get sunrise coming up over the water. I turn around at the end of the day, I get sunset over the water. Okay. It's a lovely place. It's very quiet. So I enjoy my time there. I enjoy also working with students. And yeah, I run some Facebook ads. And I get people posting comments. Oh yeah, you were barred by the CFP board. Yeah, I was. Here's what's going on. Okay. And for a while, I got nervous about that. Now, here it is. Here's what's going on. And I do a little bit of posting on LinkedIn. I've got about 400 articles written. I post something every now and then, but I've been there for a few years. Mostly my students are happy.
Yeah.
And I get student comments, and they're all posted as well, not all of them, but as soon as I get to them, I post them. So I got a string of those.
Yeah.
Writing the book with Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Dick Vitale, and the one I'm writing right now with Lisa Nichols. I've got 2 of my own books underway at this point. So there's a number of things to do, but the Facebook advertising is there. It's relatively cheap and easy. Yeah.
What are the books that you've co-written with those people? What are the titles if somebody wants to track them down?
Okay. Jack Canfield was good question. It was back in 2015, 2016. Soul Success.
Okay.
Okay. Cracking the Coach's Success with Brian Tracy.
Yeah.
I forget the name of Dick Vitale's book that just came out. We just did a launch. I just went down to Florida to visit with him for that. And I'm doing one with Lisa Nichols right now.
Yeah.
So everything's posted. There's an author page. I got an author page with Amazon.
On your website.
There's an actual author page with Amazon.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll track them down and we'll post those as well.
Okay. And those books are all listed on my site anyway under media.
Yeah. Perfect. I've done a fair amount of stuff over the years with Brian Tracy. I think Canfield's a real joy to the spirit to be around, isn't he?
He's a fun guy.
Yeah, I don't know as though I've ever met Vitaly. Watched hundreds of hours of video with him and different people. I work a lot with Lee Meltier, and she's done a lot of interviews and work back and forth with him. He always seems to be a delightful human being as well.
Yeah, he just had a bit of a cancer scare there.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. He had it on his vocal cords.
Yeah.
So it was really a concern for him. He couldn't talk for a while. And
Oh, yeah.
being an old Italian guy and a sportscaster both. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Well, and Brian Tracy had
Yeah.
quite a bit of health problems there. What's that been, 5 or 6 years ago now?
Yeah, he's gotten up in age without a doubt in the world.
Yeah, I know he was. And he shares my background. He actually got started as training in martial arts, running a martial arts school, and was I believe a high school dropout, and then years later went back and got an MBA, an executive MBA. Now I wasn't a high school dropout. I got an executive MBA, but we had him speak at one of the events that I did, and he's, as always, phenomenal. But he had an interesting similar background.
Yeah, no, I only did 2 years of high school. I dropped out.
Yeah.
Young kid, 17, service, joined the Coast Guard. I wanted to run gunboats in Vietnam.
Wow.
And yeah, they sent me to a lighthouse in Cape May. Then I ran search and rescue for 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. But
well,
yeah.
Anything you'd like to leave people with before we call it a day here?
Just that you can actually do more than what people tell you can do. You really can. There are things out there. I know they're difficult to sort through because on the internet, there is tons and tons of trash out there, without a doubt, in the world. And it's hard to sort through it. And you've got to get a gut feeling for how you are with any particular thing. But come check me out. If I could help you, I'd be glad to. You can't buy my program online. It's by application only. Again, I only let a few people in because, again, I'm retired. I want to help. But you see the water behind me. I enjoy that. And there's only so much time left for me. And I want to be able to give something back. And I work with, again, small people with 0 to 6 employees. So if you're less than $500,000 in savings, contact me. Go to the site, drrousenow.com. Take a peek at the video. See if it makes sense. If it does, contact me and I'll see if I can help or not.
Yeah. And by the way, among advisors in the know, that's the common refrain is, what a fairly small percentage of financial advisors are actually financially secure themselves at this point. And it's it's amazing industry where my guess is 95% of people in the first couple of years fail, and the direction they're given is pretty bad. But then once you build a substantive base, you can make a strong 7-figure income. But it is an interesting business in that sense. I worked with a number of high-level MLM people back in the day, and it's not too different than that, to tell you the truth, because within the MLM industry, there's 1 or 3% who are making a fortune, and 97% never make really a penny from the deal. And I don't think the numbers are much different than that if you look under the surface.
No, it's that way for everybody. But everybody comes in thinking that they're going to get that 7-figure number.
Yeah.
And very few of them do.
You bet. You bet.
And a lot of them call me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't mind helping them because I know where they're at.
Yeah. Well, that's a good note to leave on. I will make sure we post your site, but it's drrousenow.com. If you want to see the historic results, it's /results, or drfredrouse.com for a little bit more background on you. And it'll be interesting to see how many advisors we've managed to piss off today. I always try not to dodge controversy, and I make it every effort to be in your face as much as possible. So maybe we've accomplished that goal. It'll be interesting to see what feedback or blowback comes from that.
Well, Steve, with a 9th-degree black belt, I don't think people bother you too much.
In person, I don't worry about that. And if I have a problem, working for me is the former world light heavyweight and heavyweight kickboxing champion who's also on my team. He's a 10th degree black, but I always tell people I'll let Jeff handle it. And if he can't handle it, I'm going to get the gun. I also tell people he's the scariest AARP member I know because he's 76 years old and he could whack most 20-year-olds without breaking a sweat.
That's part of probably 20. Yeah.
There you go.
All right,
well, thank you very much, sir. I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you. All right. Bye now.